Welcome to the NVIDIA Omniverse live stream. We are so glad to have everyone joining us today for a very special live stream with lots of special guests, as you can see on the screen right now. We are going to dive into generative AI and how companies are leveraging that and OpenUSD. It's going to be super exciting for everyone who's been following all the great news, not only from the other partners, but also very happy to have Mario here, who's been one of the great evangelists on generative AI. Mario, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, Edmar. Hey, everyone. Super excited to be here. I love the topic today. And yeah, we have super great partners here with us. And I want to thank the partners and everyone watching us as well. So I'll quickly introduce myself. For those that don't know me, my name is Mario Viviani, and I run developer relations for the Omniverse team. And specifically, I'm focused on working with partners on Omniverse apps and integrations. So I have the privilege of working with all these guys here today with us. Has been a super exciting adventure working with them, and we have some very, very cool things I want to show you today.
Speaking of which, let's actually start with that. So before we introduce these great people here with us, why don't we do a sneak peek at some of the stuff we'll be looking at during the course of the hour. So let's start with Alpha3D. This is going to make everyone really want out to the store and change their clothing with new patterns, because this stuff looks so cool. But we are going to dive into the workflow and how to use generative AI in the creative process. And in that example, is showing on their platform. So we're going to dive into that with the Alpha3D team. And then this one actually has some cool music. So I'm going to mute myself while we play this one from Bubbles project. Okay, very cool. Everyone was dancing to that. So we just looked at two great examples. We're going to dive into each of those. But before we get into it, let's actually go around and introduce everybody. So first, from the Alpha3D team, we have Abdallah. Abdallah, how are you doing? Welcome to the live stream.
Hello. Hi.
Tell us a little bit about your background, and then we'll introduce Shahab, and then we'll talk about your company.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. Basically, I'm an electronic engineer, and then I did a master's in robotics, and now I'm doing PhD in facial expression recognition, basically in AI. And alongside, I'm working as the head of AI with Alpha3D for over a year now, and we have been developing cool stuff, which we'll be showing you in a bit.
Awesome. Thank you. That's great. Really cool background. Shahab?
Hi, everyone. I'm Shahab. I'm one of the co-founders of Alpha3D and chief AI officer of our company. I have also a background from academia. I have been working in this field for 18 years, in particular in 7-8 years on generative AI. So woo, lots of cool stuff to talk today.
That's great, and I bet you a lot of people didn't realize that the generative AI work has been happening for a lot longer than people probably have thought. It's also definitely has blown up in the last year or so. But speaking of which, so Timber, tell us about yourself, and then a little bit back on your company, and then we'll start to dive into the deep dives.
Oh, awesome! First off, thank you for having us. Really appreciate it. NVIDIA team, Mario, you've been an amazing partner to work with. So yeah, my name is Timber. I'm one of the founders of BOOM Interactive Inc. It's a Utah-based AI company, and we created AI that is image recognition, which you'll see in a minute, but image recognition AI that can take a flat floor plan photograph or line drawing or even a sketch, and it turns it into a 3D model that you can completely edit. And then, of course, we added some cool things onto that, but we'll talk about that in a minute. I don't want to take all the time with my intro, but again, thank you having us here.
That's perfect. No, that's great. Okay, cool. So now everyone in the audience has kind of a feeling of who's here with us and where they're from and their backgrounds. I want to do that first so that you guys can start posting your questions in the chat, and feel free to direct it to whatever speaker you like. We'll be watching the questions throughout the chat. We'll try to keep up as much as we can, and and then anything we might miss or don't have time for some reason, we will try to hit it at our post live stream party on Discord, where we're going to meet on the community room #1. So I hope folks out there watching can join us there. But without further ado, let's get into it. So Mario, tell me a little bit about the work. Let's start with Alpha3D. Tell me a little bit about the work that you've been doing with Alpha3D and kind of what their team's been working on.
Yeah, it's been an incredibly exciting project to work with Alpha3D. I remember when it was just a few months ago, and they reached out to me because they got interested into Omniverse, wanted to learn more. And the first thing that they told me is we have a solution that takes plain images and conjures 3D models out of it. I was like, get out of here. That's not possible. And Shaba and Maris, the CEO, they like, we got in a meeting, and they showed me live, like literally taking a picture and converting it into a 3D asset. I think it was a trainer shoe, and there was I was amazed by that, and I was like, okay, we need to work together, right? We need to make this happen. And so the collaboration started, and we worked together over the last few months. Recently, very recently for SIGGRAPH, actually, Alpha3D released their integration with NVIDIA Omniverse that everyone can go and use. So I'm very excited about that, but I think that it's actually great to hear directly from the horse's mouth. So Shahab, I would love to pass over to you, and I would love to learn, if you can share the history of Alpha3D and, get us more into the weeds of, how does it work? I know you guys have a very cool demo to show us as well, and then we can, take it from there.
Yeah, very cool. Thanks for your kind words. So Alpha3D was established in 2018 as the first generative AI startup of Estonia. So we are coming from the land of unicorns, and we started the whole story based on a little bit of history behind the scene. I used to work in the university, and Rakuten was kind of investing a lot into our lab, and we had this photogrammetry-based 3D model creation. And my other co-founders also were working a lot by playing around and showing 3D models in the augmented reality applications. We came together and started to talk that there is a big problem, and the problem is that creation of 3D assets is very time-consuming, very expensive. It requires hardware. And then we said that, okay, now at that time the generative adversarial networks came out, so we said that we can start to play around with GANs. Then in late December 2017, Attention is all you need by Google was introduced, and Transformer came. So we said that, okay, now I think that the technology is going to that direction, that we can use it in order to generate 3D models. And the story started from there. Very ugly 3D models, but lots of light at the end of the tunnels. We start to improve and work with the models and create what we are having right now. We have utilized multiple models, and right now what you are seeing is actually coming as cascade of multiple deep neural network, which at different stage doing different type of work in order to create a 3D model in a very short period of time with a very good quality, which you can utilize it in Omniverse, in your game, in many places.
That's super exciting. And Shab, maybe I think it would be great maybe to understand and to share more about, for example, what verticals you started looking into. I remember that when we started talking, and I know you guys do a lot of work around retail, and I know that that's a big space. So I think like maybe I think it would be great to hear more about, where are you starting to work on specific verticals? What are you guys looking at? Where and also like what can developers do with it right now?
Cool. Yeah, we started with the retail as a low-hanging fruit, because we start to see that the use of augmented reality has started to become a thing, especially that when the corona came, we start to saw that Shopify announced that how people start to increase their loyalty if the augmented reality capabilities are there. So we started to talk with big brands and big retailers and start to help them to create the 3D assets. The initial 3D asset that we were producing for them were coming as a result of a hybrid model. AI was generating, and we start to improve the quality of them, so it will be a web shop presentable models. And as time goes, we start to talk more with different verticals. For example, gaming industry, and this is one of the verticals that we try to push more and try to make more partnership with game producer and game studios, because the quality that AI produce are very sweet spot for majority of the games that we are seeing. We are talking with other players such which are using these sorts of models for showrooms or things in the Omniverse or in different sorts of verses around the world. So we are doing the collaboration with them. But game is the vertical that we are now start to focus more and go more.
Yeah, and I remember in particular, I think I will always remember literally the first time that you guys showed to me like the algorithm behind the scenes, and I was shocked by how fast your AI can generate a model, because I saw other solutions that sometimes take minutes, sometimes hours to conjure up a 3D model. And yours was like the demo that you showed me was very, very quick. And I know, however, that you guys have refined that, and also that there is an additional process if a developer or a creator needs a kind of a deeper level of quality, or maybe for kind of a more production ready, showcase ready type of experience, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Currently, our system works like this, that the generation of the 3D mesh takes something around 11 seconds, and retexturing takes around 15 seconds. So everything is finished in 30 seconds. Of course, right now in our platform, if anybody wants to try and see it, we are using a very primitive instances, so more people can use free versions. And also we have added multiple layers in order to improve the quality even more. But currently we try to reduce the time as short as it is possible, because we are foresee that the game industry moves in the direction that people wants to have the snap of two fingers, the items that is next to them into their game, into their Omniverse, into the platforms that they are dealing with. So we try to go towards the direction of to have it as real time as it is possible. But right now, the mesh creation and texturing in total get 30 seconds, but we are doing subsets of pre-processing, for example, removing of the background in order to have the items in a position that we start to create a 3D model, and each of them are adding a few seconds, but the main core happens everything less than 30 seconds, as you have seen in that demo before.
Yeah, it was actually pretty insane recently when I was playing with the production version on your website. I could take pretty much any kind. I was specifically playing with the trainer models to build out shoes. And there was these, I was taking pictures from the internet, just like grabbing them and see, okay, I'll stress test this. Let's see if I can break it. And it didn't. Like every time was like separating the background and generating like the right UV maps, and it was like creating the right texture, which is something that is very complicated, right? Like even applying, like building and applying the right texture to the 3D model and doing it in like 15 seconds, like you said, is pretty groundbreaking, right? It's really impressive. So Shab, I know that you guys have prepared like a short video for us, because I think like we're teasing these to our audience, but I think that they should see it, like they should see it to believe.
Absolutely.
So and Abdallah, I think you will introduce us to what we're seeing, right?
Yes. So let me get the video started, and I also want to note the amazing participation we're seeing from the community in the chat. So thanks for everybody joining today.
Questions.
Well, really great questions. So we're going to watch this demo. We'll try to answer some questions following and during, and then we'll meet on Discord afterwards. Okay. So here we go. Here is the demo, and Shahab, you can feel free to unmute yourself when this plays. Okay, everyone can see the video now.
Well, I will take over. So as you can see from the platform, we are inserting for the sneakers, there were 3 categories, and you have the option either to choose between generating with text or using images. And from the demo, we made use of images. And as we have mentioned, it takes less time to generate, and our model is currently showing. And this is the quality based on a single image. Of course, it's not very high end, but we are working to make it in multi-view, whereby the whole idea of having different views will improve the texturing. So this is what currently it looks like when we apply it onto Omniverse app. And yeah, we have to rescale it. So we are working on this to make it bigger. So once this is done, we can have this direct extension from Omniverse app, and we can access it from your single, like you just need to sign up from the Alpha3D platform, and you can directly import all your library generated assets directly. And beside about manipulating them on Omniverse app, we can also take them and improve them. You can generate them into different formats. We have currently .glb format as well as USD format. And later on during this demo, there will be one of the 3D artists who took this same model, and he's trying to improve the model so that we can have a higher resolution. And this is very I would say well depicted from the video you can see, and this is something that is really amazing. What I can say is we are currently working on improving, like getting more categories. Like currently we have sneakers, and then we can see that there is a sofa category on the platform, and these are currently in the beta version. So we are trying to fix those, make it better quality, as well as decreasing the latency for getting it from the platform. And as you can see that the mesh, how it has been created, and here the 3D artist is making use of Substance Painter. And they are making use to fix those vertices, as well as trying to improve the texture. And once this is done, we can also take this model to upload it onto the Omniverse app, or you can use it in any other application that you wish to use it. And beside it, we are currently working on different possibilities that users can also generate mesh as well as modifying the textures. So these are the things that will be coming up in the very soon, and I hope that this is something that interests many people on the platform.
Very cool. We're seeing one question actually while we're looking at it. I think maybe it's answered right here, but it's about the bottom of the shoe. Like, so you can grab additional photo of the bottom of the shoe to import that as well.
Yeah, we are planning to make it automated in the future. So we're currently, like, it's currently in development as long as we are talking. So all these will be directly done by the AI, as the whole generation was done using a single image. We hope that this will be done directly, like with this different angles and different views. So this will adapt accordingly to those different angles and place those textures accordingly. So once the model is ready, we can automatically take those model and open it on Omniverse. So this is how it looks like after the 3D artist worked on it.
That's brilliant, and that's all. Like you said, that's all OpenUSD natively. I remember that you can do directly from your platform, import the USD, modify the USD, and then import it straight up into Omniverse with the drag and drop. So I think that is pretty insane, right? Like in particular, as you said, like that image that we're looking at right now. That model, it started from a single image and it was generated in what, like a few seconds. I think that if we go back to what Shab was referring to, which is maybe looking into the future where you would have a lot of kind of user-generated content, I think that's where generative AI is going anywhere, right? That is kind of enabling everyone that is not necessarily a creator to be a creator, and being able to so quickly generate a model and you can use it in a game. Like literally could be say, okay, today I'm wearing these kind of shoes. I take a picture, and in my game that I'm playing today, I will have those shoes in the game straight up in a matter of seconds. Like I think that's incredible. And I think that if we project this concept, like right now we've seen an example with shoes, which is a great example, but is one of many, right? Like you're already working on furniture that could expand potentially to everything, like. And I think that is wild, because you can start thinking about all the different workflows that can be augmented by this, right? And this is not anymore about just games or interactive experiences on mobile or filters. Like this can go to impact things like what we call the industrial metaverse as well, right? Like if you can scan and have objects very quickly, we're already seeing that impacting all these new worlds. So I think this is terribly exciting, right? And the more data you guys will have, the more these models will be refined. And of course, I feel like there will always be a space for, artists like we saw today, that was still an artist that was kind of fine tuning the final model. We're working on it, but that already took away from the work of that artist probably hours and hours of modeling the shoe and defining the texture, finding the right way to apply the texture. It's taking away the bulk of the work, if you want, of the tedious work, and then you can focus more on the creative aspect, which I think it's
exactly.
It's really
we pay lots of attention to one fact, that we believe we should give human more opportunity to spend more time on the creativity, whereas some part of the work, like creation of the 3D model, the base of the 3D model, can be automated, and AI can do it. I actually have learned it while working a lot with the Japanese companies. They have a very interesting culture that if something can be automated, and let human just contribute on creativity on top of that things that being generated.
Yeah, it seems. I'm looking at the chat. It's pretty surprised. Everyone's pretty surprised and excited about. Oh, it does seem very transformative, like Mario was saying. So I think people are really understanding the the power of this. I just posted a link to Alpha3D's website if people want to check it out. There's also a blog that NVIDIA just released. I think it was just last month, following SIGGRAPH, where we covered some of this as well. So I'll post that in the link for folks to read afterwards. Okay, go ahead. Oh, sorry.
No. I was thinking maybe there are so many questions from the audience. I wonder if maybe there are some questions that we could take a look at or start answering.
I think we can go from the bottom up, but it looks like let me see. So Zia, so welcome, Alex. It's so great to have you here. Has a good question about like how much can you actually do with the asset in terms of the mesh itself, texel density, polygon mesh, etc.
It varies that how much we can do. If the question is addressing actually to us in that sense, we can define it as a variable, and AI can create different density and different number of polygons as you want. Typically, we are limiting it currently to something between 80 to 100,000, because we find it that is suitable for mobile view or many of the simple low polygon application. When it comes regarding to the texture, the resolution, it can go as high as 4K as you want, and it can easily fit on top of even a low polygon mesh. Abdullah, do you want to add something on top of it?
No.
That's great. So thank you. And correct myself, that was from Simply Chenable, a great member of the community, both on the Omniverse forums and Discord server. Great to have you here, Jerry. Zia also has a bunch of questions here. So looking at Alex's also, but Simply Chenable actually has a good follow-up question here. about scanning a large object and combining. Is that something that's on the roadmap?
Yeah, that is a possibility, but please remember we try to focus a lot on doing avoiding the scanning. We don't want people to go around things. We want to make things as simple as it is possible. So that's why currently we are focusing with one single image. Of course, if we have more input images, automatically the quality will become better, the details will visualized better, but we are trying to also make the life as simple as it is possible.
Thank you. And yeah, for everyone watching, I see we have some new viewers here, which is great. Welcome to the Omniverse live stream. This live stream will be available afterwards on our YouTube channel. It's actually the same link that you see in your browser window right now. Will work afterwards. So you can check it out at any time. And we're going to update with timestamps and some favorite moments afterwards as well. Let me see. Okay, Mary, did you see another question there you wanted to tackle?
There's an interesting one from Zia that is, how long would it take to train the AI model to understand something like a cup versus a shoe? So how long does it take for you to train a new domain, let's say?
It's very good question, very painful question. So it depends. It depends on the type of instances and things that we are using in order to train. But typically we are spending for few days. I mean, Abdullah knows more exactly because he has the hands-on and do the development. But based on the number of assets that we have and we do the training, it can varies from a day to a couple of days. Abdullah, you have more accurate numbers. Do you want to share the numbers, please?
Yeah. So basically, for the sneakers, for instance, it took around 5 to 6 days to finish training, and whenever there is that, it depends actually on the object. Like if you have a category which is like repeated, for let's say for instance there are sneakers, it's something very standard and static. So in that way, it's like the AI takes less time in that case, which is 5 days. So in the other context, if we go for like let's say wearables such as clothing, this one is like it is very varying in that sense, whereby they are short sleeve, long sleeve. So this will take longer time for the AI to learn about it.
Very good. That's a great answer. And I look at the time now, and I think maybe a good idea to move over to Timber. But before we do, actually, let me ask this, Mario, because I do see some new viewers here. Would you mind kind of just, if we take one step back and kind of define what generative AI is for anyone who might not be completely aware of kind of the high level kind of technology we're talking about?
It's a great question, and that's actually something that I'm also curious to learn our wonderful partner's opinion on this. I'll give you my interpretation of generative AI, which is when, again, the use of artificial intelligence to generate new content instead of, like, for example, using AI to for example, identify new content, right? Like, I think it's an entire new branch of using AI. Like, for example, a very common now use of AI that is not really generative AI is more in the space of object recognition. That's like computer vision. That is more kind of the traditional use of AI, if you want, right? You train a model on recognizing a specific object. Generative AI is I would say much more fascinating in a way, because it's about having this algorithm that can generate new content. It's not about analyzing existing content, it's about creating new content, generating new content. And
okay,
that's what opens doors to all kind of new opportunities, which is a great segue to get into talking about BOOM Interactive and Bubbles, which is an incredible solution. So Timber, I would love for you to introduce us to Bubbles.
All right. Hey, thanks again for the time, and great job, Alpha3D. I think there's a lot of synergies there, even between our techs together down the road. I see shopping in a digital form in very unique ways. And let me jump to why we created our underlying technology. We built it out of pain and frustration. We couldn't understand why a non-3D person couldn't really talk to a professional 3D artist, whether that was, in their professional tool, basically. So like an architect, a draftsman, a designer. And we first started on the design side. And we said, what would we need to create for a non-3D person to be able to interact with the professional during what we call design and discovery? And, like Shahab said, AI is meant to speed up processes, right? Let's speed something up so that we can focus on the creative side of things. And that's what we did. We created this AI it's an image recognition AI to recognize walls, windows, and doors from any floor plan. And then we extrude those up into 3D. We took that a step further and said, okay, now that I have the plan, AI is not 100% accurate. So now we got to create an editor. So then we created an editor, and you can change the walls, windows, and doors and fix them, get them to 90 degrees, get your floor plan or your 3D dollhouse template exact. Then we added another layer onto that. We said, okay, now that I have that, what can we do with it? And we added communication layers. So you'll notice these digital sticky notes that you can drag around your 3D dollhouse. And in each digital sticky note, you can add additional information. So photographs and chats and budgets and some other things that we're working on. And then we're like, okay, well, that's great. If people can go to Pinterest and Houzz and the internet and just find photographs, let's keep that behavior. Let's let them just find photographs, but let's let them put them into a pretty simplified grayscale 3D model. And there's a lot of applications to this. We added another layer onto that. We said, all right, now let's just invite the professionals. We don't want to replace the professionals. We want to speed up the time. We want to get non-3D people ready to hire those professionals and, again, have less meetings and less time back and forth with what that client wants. I'll pause for a second, but and I know you want to ask me a couple of questions, Mario, but there's a lot of applications to this, in film and TV, the design world. Think of security, even just property management. We truly believe that this 3D user interface is the future of how everybody is going to interact with any spaces, interior or exterior.
Yeah, I 100% agree, Timber. And like to draw a parallel with what happened with Alpha3D, the same thing kind of happened in our first conversation with Timber when he introduced himself and then said, I have a solution that you give me an image and I can give you a full 3D building out of it. I was like, well, that sounds hard. That sounds like very complicated. Please show me. And he was like, yeah, I already made an app that does that. Like, here we go. And I was actually recently at an event that was dedicated to tooling for architecture and construction. There was a lot of debate, a lot of questions from everyone attending about, like, is there a solution that just takes a floor plan and it can generate a 3D model out of it? And it's a brand new space, right? And the solution that the guys at Boom have put together is borderline unbelievable, I would say. So, Timber, like I think you're right, like in the sense that I agree with you. It goes beyond like architecture and construction, right? It goes to the point where anyone could, like, even if you are, let's say you want to refurbish your apartment, you can just go around, scan it, have a full modifiable, editable 3D model of it, and then sky's the limit with what you can do with it, right? You can, again, you can bring it into a game. You can start thinking about, like, okay, where do I want to place my objects? And I know you have a very cool solution to like place objects very quickly in the scene as well. You can add comments. It can start to become collaborative. And then, of course, there was, the subject that we discussed together, that was how can then speed up all the workflows that are connected into something like NVIDIA Omniverse, right? And that's how we trickle down into, well, we need to look into OpenUSD and how to bring our solution into OpenUSD. Because that opens up like all the connected workflows, right? Once it's in OpenUSD, it open doors.
Yeah.
So I think that's incredible, and I would say it's probably time to show it as well, so folks can see it.
Yeah. I'll talk through.
All right. Let's get the video going
and
and
roll the demo.
Here we go. Ready? Let me see.
So yeah, this one is quiet video, which is good. So there's 3 ways to create your scene just from a floor plan image, which I've already talked about. So you can take a photograph of this. It doesn't matter, what the file format is. The second way is you can use an AR version. This is for our Android users, and you can go out and map out your space. And then of course there's the scan. So thank you, Apple, for launching the LiDAR version of that. Scans are great. Now what? Well, I got to fix it. So we created the full editor. This is cross-platform, iOS, Android, Windows, and Mac, which takes it to, again, that whole next level. And I want to share that with a professional. We wanted people to really focus on space planning and understanding spatially what's going to fit before we jump into textures and colors and all these other more maybe complicated decisions. And then of course the end. So let's get this in, let's export this. Let's export this as a USD file so we can get to where we need to get to faster as professionals, into renders, into Omniverse, taking that USD file, maybe converting it into something, getting it into Revit, getting it into CAD. And so there's a lot of opportunities here to close that loop on, okay, what is the utility of this software? Think about somebody in, a hotel in like Dubai can scan their hotel very quickly and then invite a designer across the world, and you can collaborate. The designer can then take that, export that USD file, get the photorealism that the client wants in a shorter amount of time and using less money, because renders are expensive and we all know that. So let's create that utility of reducing the cost. And again, it's been a very fun project. I'm so proud of our team for what they've done. So a lot of hard work has gone into this. This was not easy to build, and we are just launching a few of our products out there to property managers, to the film and TV, design. And again, there's a lot of things you can do in our technology, and I can't go into all of it right now.
Cool. And so I posted the link for not only the BOOM Interactive website, but the Bubbles Project website. And obviously you have other things going on too, which we'll probably talk about in a minute. But how does this, I see on the website, you're highlighting how it enables digital twins. So, so again, like for the purposes of maybe educating some people who might not be aware, how does digital twins, like the definition, and how does it relate to the work you guys are doing?
Yeah, I mean, digital twins we've heard that term even before, we existed, right? We've heard metaverse, we've heard a lot of these terms to define something that we've already been playing in for the last 20 years. And so digital twins and what we've created is the digital twin of a floor plan, right? So the digital twin of a space, and what can you now do with that? And so once you have that digital twin, let's pipe in other information and data that already exists out there. For example, security camera feeds, HVAC system, IoT, other sensor data. So now it becomes, again, that digital twin user interface of the future.
Very cool. And already people eager to try it out. So Zia is asking if the beta testing is an opportunity.
Well, we launched Bubbles. There's a free version of Bubbles. You can go get it right now on any of so again, iOS, Android, Mac, and Windows. Go download that. There's a free version. The pro version of the software allows you to invite and then collaborate between two people, actually more than two people. You can all be in the same scene at the same time.
A nice comment from Kelly there. Very
Thank
true.
you, Kelly. Yes, we believe it is that next gen, right? That next gen interface. Let's get this into the hands of everybody and get them to start using it.
Yeah, and I think, like, to build on what Timber was saying, if you think about, if we go back to the conversation about OpenUSD as well in particular, one of the, and the concept of digital twin, one of the most beautiful aspects of OpenUSD is the fact that it is fully interoperable, right? Like, you can have multiple users being connected to OpenUSD, modify different parts and aspects of OpenUSD, and even, like, for example, through Omniverse and technologies like Nucleus, you can connect into third-party solutions as well, into other software that you're using. So it can start building this concept of a digital twin where it becomes a live digital twin. Yes. You could, like Timber said, you could instrument your real-world rooms with sensors and bring that information into the digital twin. And what does that enable? Well, enable a wealth of opportunities, right? Like, for example, you can learn from patterns of what is happening in that ecosystem, in that space, right? You can take that information, feed that into another AI, and potentially learn about it, and then take these learnings and apply them back into the real world, right?
Yeah,
There is this virtuous cycle that I think becomes possible when you have technologies like bubbles that what they really help you do is to digitize the real world. That they make it real, and you have a copy of it, a virtual copy.
Yep. And that's the utility of it, Mario. That's why we added in chat and communication. So think of like just Slack, but in 3D. Think of Google Docs, and it's so easy to share. We built a whole CRM as well, where I can invite you to any one of my projects right now as a view only. You can be the editor or you can be the owner, and then which means you can then invite other people to that project. And so the ability to share these scenes out is what we've been focusing on for the last year. Is let's yes, digital twins are cool. Let's make it useful to real world problems. And we're working with some pretty amazing companies right now, from security companies and so from film companies to design, and everyone's coming up with really good use cases we never thought of. And we're like, fantastic, let's do that. Let's get this out there.
I see a couple of great questions about leveraging NERFs. So I don't know if that's something we can touch on today.
Yes, we've actually been looking into that for some time. We like NERFs, we like scans. Scans are great. We also like, images to 3D. I mean, that's where we play. Scans are fantastic. The barrier, the problem is we would like NERFs to be meshed, because as I showed you, the digital sticky notes where you can drag those around anything, those are, it's colliding on a mesh. So a NERF is really good. Scans are great. You can pinch and zoom, and you can look at them, but that's really all you can do. We want to take that to that next level where we can do, and we're working on it. We have a few ideas of how we can take a NERF to mesh automatically, get that in our system, and then share that out with a designer to a client. And then they can actually start to ideate an existing space and say, move this, why is this like that? Why is this like that? And at the same time, give them the grayscale version that we just showed you, that they can edit and that can move around, and they can adjust it to their will. They can ideate faster.
Very cool. All right. Well, thanks for covering that. I'm not sure I left it on the screen in case there's any more details you guys want to.
Yeah.
I would be curious to maybe hear the Alpha3D guys on the same question, right? Because I know you guys maybe are closer to this world of photogrammetry / conjuring up an individual model and texture. And I know there is a lot of movement around that, a lot of interest for NERFs to mesh. Neural Angel is something that NVIDIA has been working on that is in that direction. So I'm curious, maybe Shahab, Abdallah, to hear your thoughts.
Abdullah, go ahead.
Well, talking about NERF, we have been experimenting with it, and we can say that it's very, how do you say, interesting to see how we can produce very high end at some point, but generating that, it's very heavy on one hand, and producing it in real time, it will not give us the same result that we're currently having at this point. And we hope that as long as the technology is advancing, we hope that we can work with it and see how we can make use of this technology. Maybe Shahab wants to continue on this.
Yeah, I mean, I am in love with NERF. So I literally love NERF and things. However, when it comes to matter of business and use cases, still we need to wait more. As Abdullah mentioned, actually in Alpha3D, we have a team dedicated which are working on NERF. We do the research on it, how we can do lots of view estimation in order to reduce the number of required images. But still, given that as Timber mentioned, we need to be able to fit the mesh, because lots of applications are still working with mesh-based 3D models. That's why that I need to hold on my love until we see more applications of NERF comes out. But we are not dismissing it. And as I said, I mean, I believe it was a great breakthrough in 3D kind of model generation.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. If I could just add one little comment on there, nerfs are amazing. I mean, working with Jonathan Stevens a bit and going back and forth on certain things, they're great. We now need a distribution system, a way that you can distribute these nerfs and actually talk and communicate them, communicate about them in real time to make it a real life project setting. And maybe that's the next thing we work on, NVIDIA. Maybe we work together on an auto way to do that. Especially with our simplified models, I think there's a way to do it without, without going too detailed, because you're right. Alpha3D is right. They are heavy, they are complex, and they mesh too much. But we have an idea of how to simplify that, and so we want to work on that together. So.
Very cool. I think this is a perfect segue to actually talk about some of the tech kind of process involved on integrating and how OpenUSD has been leveraged. We see Will here has been asking also. So Mario, do you have a preference on how we talk about?
I would maybe start with Timber, actually, because we worked a lot on, and in particular, the main conversation we had with Boom, it was around OpenUSD, right? I think how that is very much kind of the bridge into this kind of interactive ecosystem. It's we don't Omniverse, in particular, everyone that follows us and uses Omniverse knows that Omniverse is a great solution and a great platform that revolves around OpenUSD. Mm-hmm. And so we needed to get that to happen. So maybe Timber, if you can talk over a little bit over your route to OpenUSD and what that means to you guys at Boom.
Yeah, no, it's really important. I mean, USD is, we've been in USD for a while, even before this company. So we were familiar with it, coming out of the film industry and working in that industry just for a little bit. But wow, I'll give a high level answer to that question. I saw it pop up. We had to build our own. So we had to build our own USD exporter system and server that can not only do it local to our platform and to the app that you would download, but also to grab our assets, because we have our own pretty generic 3D assets in our environment. And that doesn't mean we can't bring other assets in later at a later time. We're actually talking about that internally with the staff, but the USD, we had to build our own. I reached out to Unity on a couple things. I reached out to some Scott at Dimension X, and his team was able to help us try to figure something out. And so it was a collaborative effort to build our own. And without getting too heavy into the tech stack and exactly how we did it, we own our process.
Yeah, and it was, and I have to say, the first time I played with your app, when you sent it to me, it's literally the one-to-one copy of what you have in your app, right? It's pretty impressive, the accuracy of what you guys were able to conjure up into OpenUSD. And I was the other day was using it and playing with it, and I was starting to actually merging it with some of the workflows that we are seeing from our partners. And I thought that one very cool example was actually using one specific feature of USD that is called variants, that allows you to have multiple variants of the same object. And in real time, you can swap from one to the other, right? So in your case, you could set up an entire building. You can arrange all the objects, all the primitives, all your items, and then with just a button, you could swap between different versions of it. And I was thinking about that could be a great example if you are an architecture firm and you want to showcase to your customers, hey, here's multiple versions and multiple iterations of what's possible. And by the way, you don't like that couch, we can swap it with a different couch, opening a different USD file, right? It start creating this hyper collaborative environments and situations, and all of that is channeled and powered through USD.
Yeah, we envision that too, Mario. We've talked about this quite a bit. I can see, in Omniverse professionals, using Omniverse, but then interacting with a client that's using, one of our products, so like Bubbles, and it's very simple for them to do things. But over here on the Omniverse side, it's like translated. And so working on the next step of taking it from Omniverse and, getting that kind of detail like you just mentioned and changes, and then putting it back into Bubbles. I mean, think of commercial real estate. you can show up and have 5 or 6 different configurations before you even walk through the space, the physical space, which is normally just empty with a bunch of pillars. I don't know how many people can fit in here. You know, the agents can show up, and you know, it's not Matterport. It's very different than that. It's an interactive way to engage with the client now. Let's see what they think earlier on. Let's get them quicker to contract, you know, then do those layouts like you said, Mario. So
absolutely. And I think that the other thing that would be interesting is going back to the concept of AI and generative AI as well, is to start seeing these like, if we think about Alpha3D and your solution as an AI or a generative AI agent or component, I think it would be very interesting to start seeing these tools start to cooperate and operate. Like, for example, we show at SIGGRAPH a demo of like you write down a piece of text and say, I want this warehouse done in a certain way, and it conjures up the warehouse. Maybe it can start from a floor plan, from an image. It extrudes the walls, and then maybe a solution like Alpha3D can say, okay, here's a bunch of images of the objects that we want in the room. Boom, generate those images, populate the environment, and then, you know, I need to have that into, you know, my connected DCC tools for architecture for final production, and I can do that. It start to merge these ecosystems, right? I think that's very powerful.
Yeah, we can make a Foot Locker right now. Let's go get a floor plan of a Foot Locker in a mall, and then we can use all their shoe models, create a virtual store just from images. Idea. Like the whole thing would just be created from images, throw it into Omniverse, make it more high fidelity, and then all of a sudden you have something you can present in front of your C-suite, right? Or even couches. I love it. Let's do couches next.
That's a great idea. Community challenge accepted. So I think I want to remind everybody, as we are winding down the last several minutes, that we are going to head to the Omniverse Discord server after this and go to community room number 1, which I posted the Discord invite link in the chat. So feel free to head over there, make sure you're registered on Discord in the server, and you can chat live with our guests. If you've never been on our Discord server before, just join now, because it takes a few minutes before you can actually chat with people. Very good. We see some great questions and comments here. I'd say a lot of what I'm seeing, looking at the chat for both Twitch and YouTube, is general kind of awe and excitement about the future of what this enables. And the other thing, which I want to kind of remind everybody, in case you don't know already, I think both of our great partners here mentioned it today, that, you know, how it was like working with the NVIDIA Omniverse team, and Mario is here as a result of that collaboration. And we are so excited to work with developers building on this system, leveraging OpenUSD. So if you need help or you need to find resources, please reach out to us. We're very accessible. We have a community page now, nvidia.com/omnivores. You can find a lot of good resources there. And obviously, we have our Discord server, so we have lots of channels, including a channel for generative AI. So we'd love to have people kind of maybe continue the discussion from this live stream after today in that channel, so we can all get to know each other there a little bit better. And let us know what you want to learn next. We have actually a really cool live stream next week with Moment Factory. So we'll that's on our event calendar. We'll post in a few minutes. But in the last minutes, I would like to kind of ask everybody, like, where do you think generative AI is headed? Like, what's next? We actually touched on NERF quite nicely, and that's probably going to be you know, a bigger and bigger part of things as it evolves. But where do you guys see generative AI heading? You guys are both doing some super innovative, groundbreaking stuff. So I'm curious what you specifically think. Let's start with Timber.
Yeah, I'll keep it short. Where we see it going is the ability to create photorealistic renders in a nanosecond that are accurate and consistent. And right now, they're not. AI does a lot of great jobs throwing stuff together. You need a data set like what our technology provides, right? You have the full floors, you got the XYZ coordinates of everything, and you got the distance right. Now let's add on to that. So we see it going into that realm and really being a visual tool, but more accurate.
That makes a lot of sense. And Abdallah, what are your thoughts on it from the Alpha3D perspective, or your own personal thoughts?
Well, I would say, like Timber already mentioned everything, but I have the same point of view what he shared about, and we hope that generative AI will reach to a point whereby it will be way faster and more precise in the way that we're currently seeing. And we hope that we can advance more in the 3D generation as well. So let's see where it goes.
Very cool. And Mario, I want to hear this from you also.
Yeah. Oh my God, we're seeing so many new projects and new ideas. I think one thing that gets me very excited is to start to think about when generative AI will start to be multimodal, right? Because like everyone is of course talking about large language models and text generation, which is remarkable, and we're seeing so many different uses of that. But that's just step one, right? That's just like text that learn from text and is generating text, AI that is generating text. I think that the remarkable things will happen when a lot of other ways of perceptions are added in, when it can start learn from images, videos, and generate images. It's already doing that, but it's doing it in a way when these mediums start to be intertwined, right? When you learn from video and you can generate images out of it, you can recognize what's in videos and generate text out of it. I think that will be, sky's the limit for for how many doors that can open. I think generative AI is probably one of the strongest, most incredible, inventions that have ever come up. Like I think there was some, I don't remember if it was Bill Gates or someone that recently said, in my lifespan, I've only seen two major technological innovations. One was the creation of the internet, and the second one is generative AI.
Amazing, yeah.
I subscribe to that.
Makes a lot of sense. And speaking of which, I think it's going to be a big topic at the upcoming GTC in spring of 2024. We recently announced that it's going to be in person. We will also be supporting people virtually. Also, we love that so many people got to engage with GTC in ways they had never had before by hosting it virtually. But we're super excited to actually start working directly with people in person. There's going to be workshops, lots of great sessions. Lots of really cool stuff is being planned. If you want to be in the know about as things happen, please go to the NVIDIA GTC site. It's very easy, nvidia.com/GTC. And as you can see on the screen, call for submissions is open right now. So if you have a great topic that you'd like to discuss and share with the world, we welcome you to submit. I think that would be amazing. I personally cannot wait. Some more information here about the call for submissions and the dates. It's going to be March 18th to the 21st. Yeah, Mario, will you be there, Mario? Because I missed your SIGGRAPH.
I hope so. I hope so. Fingers crossed. I will submit my talks. Well, so if the team that decides the talks, like I want to be there for
Awesome.
sure. And
All right.
but I really hope that also like I will see great partners like Abdallah and Timber there. So please, everyone, submit your presentations. We'd love to see you guys there.
Yes, I would love to see as many people as possible from the community. Where some really fun stuff to announce. Speaking of which, I should mention this as a start of stream. So Wendy's not here today. Wendy's fine. Don't worry about Wendy. She is actually. We're going to have her on really soon to talk about it. But she's starting to help out another team that could really use her help, and we are going to share more exciting news. Let me see if I can give anything away without giving it away. Well, I'll say Wendy's passion is gaming. So I'll leave it at that, and we'll find out more from Wendy. Get the insights. We'll have her on, and she could share what she's on right now. But expect to see her on these live streams once in a while. We can steal her. And then also really quick, if people have not seen it, speaking of OpenUSD, we just released at SIGGRAPH our OpenUSD All-Stars. It's actually a really fantastic ebook going over the way different people have leveraged OpenUSD. So really great examples of different verticals and really inspiring and motivating. So I think the link is being posted in the chat by my colleagues back at headquarters. But that's a really informative and I think like very inspiring. Obviously, one of the biggest things that the tech world is excited about is the Alliance for OpenUSD. Why is this so exciting, though? It's exciting because you rarely get to see these kind of companies work together on something so exciting at the same time. So we have Pixar, Adobe, Apple, Autodesk, and others. So we encourage companies that are interested to check out the Alliance for OpenUSD. They have a great website where you can check things out. Let me see. I think Shahab's back. Let me bring him back to the stage. There he is.
Thanks.
And let me see if I could fix. There's my head, so everyone can enjoy the fish in the top. Okay, but the Alliance for OpenUSD is very exciting. So if people are curious about what OpenUSD is, check out that page. We obviously have been releasing a lot of great stories on it on our blogs. You could follow on our Discord server. We have a channel specifically putting our blogs out in real time, so you can catch up there. And ongoing, this has been extended because we saw some really great stuff, and people told us they have stuff in progress. So we extended this a little bit longer. We have the Start to Finish challenge, so you can leverage any tool you love in the ecosystem that's leveraging USD. And we want to see kind of where something started in your mind and then where it left off. Really cool to see the work here by Jay Dizzle, always, who's a materials person over at Nike, actually, speaking of shoes. We have to show him, we'll show Jay Dizzle some of those creations from Alpha3D and see what he thinks about those cheetah skin shoes that we saw in the promo. See what Nike feels about that. Okay, and then obviously another great partner is Real Illusion, who has just been knocking out these updates for eye cloning and character creators. So this Omniverse connector with Real Illusion is just fantastic and really helping people work with characters. And I think there are so many videos on this actually on our channel and also Real Illusions. If you need help on this, we have a channel dedicated to that on Discord server also. So those were the things I wanted to let everyone know before we go today. I can't thank everybody enough. Not only the amazing people in the community that joined us in the chat, great questions and comments, but also obviously Mario, and most especially our very talented and special guests here from Alpha3D and Boom Interactive. Timber, Abdallah, Shahab, thank you so much for joining us today. It's really exciting and it's really inspiring to developers and creators to see that get an inside look about how this stuff comes about and how to leverage that. I think you're going to see a lot more people checking out your stuff now who didn't know it existed before. So this is really fantastic. Does anyone have any closing words I want to say before we head to Discord?
No, just a big thank you to the community, to NVIDIA. Been an amazing partner to work with. We couldn't be happier. And thank you for this opportunity to show our technology. And we rely on the community to help us get it out there. So thank you.
And thank you.
I would like to add one very, very tiny things regarding to the term generative AI.
Yeah.
I believe what we call generative AI is actually synthetic AI, because the term generativeness that we use for human is combination of 99% synthesizing and 1% of inspiration. And currently that one inspiration AI does not do it. And in Alpha3D, in the demo that we show it kind of that the synthesizing is happening by AI nicely, and it gives that 1% of inspiration to the artist to add on top of it.
What a great way to close this stream. Thank you, Shahab. Thank you, everyone. We're going to jump right now over to the Discord server. So if you want to continue the conversation, ask some questions, unmute your mic, turn on your webcam. You could chat with us live on Discord. We'll be in community room number 1. Join us next week when we have Moment Factory on. Check out the live stream calendar. But we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.